Welcome to the New Level VR YouTube channel. In this video, we'll check out the Woojer Strap 3 and decide if it's worth it. I've seen lots of ads for the Woojer and thought this might be a nice product to start exploring the modern world of haptic feedback devices. I tried it out in several different scenarios. I focused on VR, but tried it out in several other suggested uses as well.
What are you doing in here? It's not waterproof.
The Woojer Strap 3 is a haptic transducer on a strap. It is meant to be worn on the upper body and has several adjustments available to customize your experience. It arrived within a week of ordering despite coming from China, which I didn't realize until after I ordered it. It was packed into a small, simple box. It comes with the transducer, strap, a bag, and a USB-C charging cable. There's a little cheat sheet on the back side of the strap for quick reference. There's also an app to download that allows you to customize your strap and monitor connections. It's rather heavy at 240 grams for such a small device, but that's to be expected. It seems to be very well constructed and offers several optional cosmetic upgrades. Setup instructions were simple and straightforward, but I did run into a few unexpected problems along the way. The Strap 3 worked great when used for wired connections. However, using the strap proved difficult with wireless setup. It seemed like the strap would refuse to reconnect with my phone after recharging. I had to forget the device and reconnect from scratch every time. Most times when I made the phone forget the headphones, the app crashed. This cost me several minutes every time I wanted to use the headset wirelessly with my phone. Also, my PC wouldn't use multiple output sources. To get this to function correctly, I had to use a third-party audio program named Voicemeeter. After using this solution, everything seemed to work as expected. I bought this strap with the expectation of budget haptics. This is my first accessory devoted to haptics. I knew it was only a single transducer and tried to modify my expectations accordingly. So before I continue, let's look up the definition of haptics in the dictionary. Both of these definitions focus on one key element: touch. I'll agree that the vibration appeals to touch, but it doesn't simulate touch. That's a pretty big problem for me when it comes to this device. I expected gunshots and explosion to have much more impact, but what I found was background music with low frequencies and menu sounds had stronger influence on the Woojer performance. In many games such as Veil, the sound for respawning had a stronger vibration than a frag explosion right at your feet. In most games, it just feels like a low, constant rumble that doesn't have much correlation to gameplay. Another major disappointment was the latency with all wireless connections. With the Valve Index, there's no auxiliary audio output like the Quest 2 has, so there's no way to connect the HMD to the audio strap, so you're forced to use the wireless option. This has an audio delay for haptic sensation. Here's an example to illustrate. Same problem arises when using the Quest 2 Bluetooth connection. I noticed the audio latency was much worse on the Quest 2. However, when you use a wired connection, the Quest really shines in this department. The latency is completely gone. You'll have to watch out for cable management, but this is the best use for the device in a VR setup. The Woojer uses Bluetooth 5.0 technology, but in my experiences, Bluetooth causes more problems than solutions, and this device was no different. The latency is garbage, ruining most experiences. The only wireless option that seemed to be preferable was simply connecting my phone to the Woojer, then connecting that to headphones for listening to music. So out of all the suggested uses, only two are truly viable. It's a pretty well constructed design, but I did happen to notice when I turned up the intensity, a rattle would occur. This could just be an isolated problem to my unit. One smaller problem was the over-the-shoulder option. It was never comfortable and would ride up my chest and would decrease the sensations. The center chest and back options were much more consistent. I really thought this strap would shine when it came to rhythm VR games. But with the movement, the vibrations were more of a distraction than immersive. I tried it on two of my favorites, Beat Saber and Pistol Whip, but wearing the strap didn't really add anything to my gaming session. Out of the box, the battery needs to be charged immediately, and the info states that it takes 3 hours for a maximum charge, but in my experience, it was much longer than that. Most of the time, I was forced to leave it to charge overnight, and on a few occasions, it was nowhere near its boasted 8-hour operation time. The app gives you some customizable features such as LED control. You can adjust the intensity of the vibrations on the app and on the face of the device. There's a volume control also, but this only works when the audio source is running through the Woojer first. The app also has latency controls, but I could never get wireless audio to sync with visuals. As mentioned before, they also offer more color rings and straps for additional cost on their website. The value of the Woojer is very disappointing after putting it to use. After taxes and fees, the strap was over $250 and really only useful in two very specific cases: using the Quest 2 wired option and listening to audio-only sources. Calling it a haptic device is being overly generous. Bass frequency transducer? Sure. They have a more budget-friendly option in the strap called the Strap Elite for a reduced price. The value on that one might be closer to justifying. It's portable, it's small, it's easy to pack away. It has several options for connectivity. Wired and wireless options make it easy to adapt to most equipment. It's colorful, it's unique, and there's simply not many other devices like it. It gives several options for placement on your body to match the experience that you prefer, and it works if all you're looking for is something to enhance your background music or enjoy low frequency bass on a small scale. Latency for Bluetooth connections is a massive immersion killer, and in my opinion make this unusable for gaming without a wired connection. Even with the latency adjustments on the app, this is impossible to ignore. Unreliable connections. Most Bluetooth devices immediately recognize their last connection, but this one seems to have issue with reconnecting to devices that it was previously connected to. The battery life seems to be very short, especially if you really want to increase the intensity, plus the battery takes a very long time to recharge. Unless you're going to use this device specifically to listen to music or wire up your VR headset, there's no way I can recommend this device. If I'd bought this strictly for my personal use, I'd be extremely disappointed. So can I recommend it? Not really. It leaves me wanting something more, like a vest maybe. This would be a good time to mention that we are self-sponsored here at New Level VR, so if you see content you like, we aim to give unbiased opinions on these videos and give you as much info as possible to help inform your decision. Have you used this or some other haptic device? Tell us about it in the comments. Also, we'd love for you to join our growing Discord community, and a link is in the description.